Welcome back, everyone, to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. This is my instant reaction and recap to today's national championship game between South Carolina and Iowa. Final score, South Carolina 87, Iowa 75. And with that, I salute and send a congratulations to the Lady Gamecocks and Coach Dawn Staley. Like Ray Kinsella and Terrence Mann, they went the distance and finished the season a perfect 38-0. They will undoubtedly go down as one of the best teams ever in the history of the sport. So congratulations to South Carolina. And with that, yet again, back-to-back season, Iowa comes one game short of capturing its first ever national championship in program history. And we also see the conclusion of the Caitlin Clark era at the University of Iowa and women's college basketball in general. Welcome back, everybody. I'm your usual host, Blair Parks. Woo! You know, it's been a long day. Overall, I'm taking the loss very well. I mean, I wasn't shocked, even surprised by what happened with the events of earlier this afternoon. I mean, the game itself, it really came down going into this matchup. Each team absolutely knew what the strengths and what the weaknesses were of each other and how they could capitalize on those against the opponent on the court. And when push came to shove, South Carolina was absolutely able to capitalize on their advantages over the Lady Hawkeyes. And that is really kind of the story of the game and how it came to fruition and all played out. Following the game, I wasn't a negative Ned or a Debbie Downer. The best way for me, what I did after the game, watched a little bit of the post-game celebration and some of the pressers. And then I had to get outside and do some good old-fashioned manual labor yard work. Nothing quite like getting over a bad loss than getting down on all fours and pulling weeds. So I'm definitely in an all right spot, a good place overall, feel good. But once again, it's really a shame not to be able to see Iowa finish the deal once again and capture that natty title. Whew, and just let me go ahead and tell you, it's great to be with you. I hope you had an excellent weekend. Hopefully you're all looking forward to tomorrow. It is Eclipse Day on Monday afternoon here in North America. But as far as if this is your first time watching me here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, I always ask for your participation and welcome any comments, any insights, opinions, thoughts, because you, the college athletic fan, you are the ones who drive these episodes. So please, if you have anything to say about the national championship game, please go ahead and comment below. I promise you that I will get back to each and every one of you much sooner than later, individually via those comments, and spread the word. Let's go ahead and get the word out there so I can find more college sport fans just like you. Tell them to check me out here in the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. And thank you for your time and attention, for newcomers and all of you who have been with me from the get-go. So those were my initial thoughts on how this game played out. And when I watched it, I mean, like I said, it was really kind of an up and down first half. I mean, you see Iowa come out blazing, firing on all cylinders. I believed about halfway through the first quarter is when Iowa was able to get out to their largest lead. At one point in that first quarter, Iowa led by 11 points. Ultimately, though, South Carolina would come storming back. They would take a 3-point lead into halftime, and then in the second half just wore down Iowa, eventually getting out to their largest lead of 14. But, so Iowa was able to chip away with that final score being 12 overall. But when I watched this game, it really came down to once again those advantages that we knew South Carolina was going to have over Iowa, and it really came down to their size and their ability to rebound the basketball. Now, there were some other things that absolutely made it way more difficult, maybe even impossible, some would say, for Iowa to overcome. So let me just go and read some stats to you here really quick, okay? And let's just say you're looking at this with a blind eye, all right? Let me share the game stats with you here, and you can make up your mind overall. As far as the three-point percentage, South Carolina was 42% from behind the arc compared to Iowa's 39%. Free throw percentage, or free throws themselves, Iowa, big advantage there, 16. They made 16 of their 20 shots, when South Carolina made 9 out of 17. But here's the big stats that are pro South Carolina. Rebounds, total rebounds, 51 for South Carolina compared to 29 total for Iowa. Offensive rebounds, huge difference here as well. Of South Carolina's 51 total rebounds, 18 of those were offensive rebounds compared to only 7 offensive boards for Iowa. Turnovers pretty much were a wash. South Carolina committed 13 turnovers to Iowa's 9, so advantage Iowa there, and also with the free throws. Assists, pretty damn close. South Carolina 16 to Iowa's 13. Points in the paint, pretty good discrepancy here, but maybe not as much as you would think when it comes down to that discrepancy in rebounding. Points in the paint, 48 for South Carolina to Iowa's 32. And here's the thing that really just is sick to think about. That when I saw this, when they showed this and when the announcers were talking about this, it was tough for me to fathom. But then again, I was kind of in amazement when second chance points, not only did the rebound advantage heavily sway towards South Carolina, but those 18 offensive rebounds, it's been a long day, sorry guys, rebounds, yep, I do my own stunts here in the Touchdown Black and Go vlog. 18 offensive rebounds led to 30, a big 3-0, 30 second chance points for South Carolina compared to Iowa's 16. And bench points, really tough to stomach this. South Carolina outscored Iowa's bench 37-0. Iowa, I believe, only played 6 players during the vast majority of game time. Now, they did get a couple of girls in at the very end of the game with under 30 seconds left. But yeah, they only played 6 players with Kylie Feuerbach coming off the bench for a few moments and Addie O'Grady, too, and she played legit minutes. So Iowa went 7 deep during the game compared to South Carolina just emptying their bench. I mean, the bench depth, it wasn't even close, all right? So me telling you those stats, all right? So when you hear about the offensive rebounding edge and the rebound edge overall, bench points, when you talk about three-point shooting 42%, going 8 of 19, you're probably thinking, wow, this game should not have been close whatsoever. And you are absolutely right. This is what it was so difficult for me to fathom this, but then again, with 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, at that point, I think bench points were 36-0. South Carolina still had that huge advantage with the rebounds, and they were shooting just under 50%, I believe 48% at the time from behind the arc, but it was only a 5-point game with 4 minutes left. For Iowa being just that close within striking distance, they really had no they really had no right to even be that close. For them to still be right there really speaks volumes to where this team was. They never quit. They never gave up. They never hung their heads. Their chins were up. So it was really a great showing for Iowa, all right? With all of those factors going against them, to be down only 5, to still be right there in the game with 4 minutes to go, really was very impressive, all right? Now, some stars of the game. There was a lot of star power in this matchup. First for South Carolina, Camelia Cardoso. Really good game, 17 total rebounds, 15 points. She had 3 big blocks against Iowa, specifically on Addie O'Grady there a few times. But really the unsung hero for South Carolina today was talented freshman Tessa Johnson. I mean, Tessa had herself a game, kind of like your coming out party. And what a time to have a career high and your best showing of the season in the national championship game. Her numbers off the bench for this talented freshman, she ended up with 19 points, which led the way for South Carolina. But more impressively, her 3-point shooting, she went, 3 of 6, shot 50%, 7 for 11 total in field goals. So right there, just the efficiency for her off the bench. She was really that deciding factor, I believe, in this game. But also, Fulwale, South Carolina's stud, talented freshman guard, really had herself a good game too. Finished with 9 points, 1 for 3 from behind the arc. But really, she was able to drive, penetrate, and carve up the Iowa defense when she was on the court. Dispersed it very well, got her teammates involved. A very, very good showing for the South Carolina team, especially the younger players on their roster. Miss Pow Pow shot very well from behind the 3-point line. I mean, she's basically a 50% shooter on the entire season. I mean, deadly accurate from behind the 3-point arc. She was 3 of 4 shooting the 3, and that really was it. I mean, the 3 points, when you look at all of that went South Carolina's way. The 3-point shooting, the rebounding, second chance points, bench points. It was just way too much for Iowa to overcome. All right? Just was. Now for Iowa, there was some very good performances, and none better than Caitlin Clark. I know as Iowa fans, as fans of women's college basketball in general, we've become accustomed to this. Caitlin's numbers, she finished with 30 points on the night. A little bit tough from behind 3-point line. She went 5 of 13, but a lot of those were late in the fourth quarter. Not necessarily great looks or great shot attempts, but doing whatever she could to get her team back into the game. So 30 points were the high for her. And then followed by Kate Martin. Fifth-year senior Kate Martin went out on top. Very, very good game for her and a great last showing in her collegiate career. Scored 16 big points, 1 of 4 from behind the arc. But she also grabbed 5 big rebounds for Iowa. And Caitlin Clark was the leading rebounder for Iowa with 8. So that really shows right there what Coach Lisa Bluter and Coach Jansen really have to work on moving forward, is just developing their forwards, developing that presence around the rim and being able to gather those rebounds a little bit more consistently. Because far too many times this season, and in fact her entire career, Caitlin Clark has led the Lady Hawkeyes in rebounding at the end of the game. That absolutely has to change moving forward. So that was the stars of the game. I mean, it's once again, congratulations to Dawn Staley and her squad. I mean, 38-0. This is not something you're going to see very often. And I think with that victory, this being, I believe, her 3rd national championship, she absolutely has to move onto the Mount Rushmore of NCAA women's coaches. I think she's right there with the late, great Pat Summitt, coach down at LSU, Kim Mulkey, I believe, who's got 4 national championships now, both at LSU and at Baylor. But they're all well below the GOAT when it comes down to coaching. UConn coach Gino Auriemma and his 11 national championships. So that's the 4 coaches that I would put on the coaching Mount Rushmore of college basketball. But that being said, within the last calendar year, little old Iowa, who I've said this on episodes past, on this squad, both this season and last season, back-to-back Final Fours, back-to-back national championship appearances, there was only one 5-star prospect coming out of high school on the roster, and that was Caitlin Clark. She is one of one, and to put yourself in position 2 seasons in a row to climb the mountain and get to the summit, and coming up a little bit short, but 3 of those 4 coaches I just mentioned being on my personal Mount Rushmore of coaches, Iowa in the last calendar year has knocked off 3 out of the 4. Last season in the Final Four, knocked off South Carolina. This season, knocked off Kim Mulkey at LSU in the rematch from last year's national championship game. And in the Final Four, knocked off Coach Gino Auriemma and UConn. So not bad for little old Iowa, where this program is going compared to where they were, because Iowa was not even in the conversation for being a historical blue blood women's basketball program. We're just not. We don't have the history, the accomplishments, the players, or numbers to back up that statement. But I think right now the potential is there. The foundation is now set for the Iowa Hawkeye women's program to continue ascending upwards in the ranks of the country's blue bloods. So, Caitlin Clark, and this is the one thing that is starting to set into me now here, X amount of hours after the conclusion of this game. It's been about 5 hours ago that this is it. That just like that, the one time, the generational player that she is, her time in the collegiate ranks is up. So it's almost like it flew by so quickly, but no regrets whatsoever. I mean, it would have been nice for Iowa to capture a title, absolutely, but what she has done, and not just her, also this graduating class for Iowa, 5th-year seniors Kate Martin and Gabby Marshall and Molly Davis, the headband, probably my second favorite Hawkeye, who injured herself late in the season. She was able to get on the court the last 20 seconds of the game, so that was a good move by Coach Lisa Bluter to get her out there with her knee brace and all, and obviously, of course, the headband, so that was great. But for what these ladies have done to elevate this program and leave it where it is absolutely phenomenal. And Caitlin Clark, I mean, what she has done for this sport, the better part of the last 2 years, if not before that. If you didn't know who she was her freshman and sophomore year, starting last year, you absolutely started to watch and hear of her. You don't necessarily have to be a connoisseur of women's basketball to know that. If you're a sports fan in general, you know who she is. But you may not know just the effect she has had on this sport. She has absolutely polarized it. She has put it on the map, galvanized the entire nation, and has raised this sport up. It is only going to take off from here. The UConn-Iowa match in the Final Four, 14.2 million viewers on average. That's 2 million more than the previous highest rated and watched women's game ever. That was the Iowa-LSU game in the Elite Eight. I think today's matchup, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say 17 million people on average watch this game on a Sunday afternoon at their homes, at the bars or establishments. I'm going to say 17 mil, and we'll find out tomorrow what the official numbers are. But she's one of one. And right now, I know a lot of people are saying that she can't be the GOAT. Yes, she has every single possible record imaginable, and nobody can ever take that away from her for what she has accomplished personally. But some would say she can't be the greatest women's basketball player of all time without the elusive national title. I'm claiming BS on that, all right? Because a lot of the women who are saying this, especially a lot of the UConn women in the WNBA, Taurasi, Breanna Stewart, yes, they won multiple national championships in college, okay? And they did. But still, when you're surrounded by 4 or 5 or probably more 5-star players, you should win multiple national championships, should you not? So if Diana Taurasi was on this Iowa squad, would she have won multiple titles? Probably not. I'm going to say definitely not. And Breanna Stewart and everybody else who's saying, without that title, you can't be the GOAT. That's bullshit, okay? 1 5-star, 1 on the squad, back-to-back national championship game appearances. So anyone who says that you can't be the greatest of all time without a title because that's not on your resume, I'm calling your bluff right there. I think at that point, you're not really giving her the respect that she absolutely deserves. And to prove this, I believe during the broadcast, the announcer said that this is the first time in the history of modern women's college basketball that the nation's leading scorer had advanced to the national championship game. And that's impressive enough, but the other thing that's even more impressive, showing that she is not a one-trick pony, she is not all about herself, is she led the nation this year in assists per game. And I believe she has 3 out of the last 4 years. I mean, come on. She is the greatest women's basketball player of all time. She is one of one, end of story. And you could say she is one of the greatest college basketball players, regardless of gender, ever as well. She is. There is no comparison. Caitlin Clark is a superstar. And she will continue at the next level to bring more eyes, more interest, more fandom to the WNBA next year as well, just like she has the last 2 years at the collegiate level. So thank you, Caitlin, for everything you've done for the sport and the program. I mean, Iowa has a great recruiting class coming in next year. They already have a commitment from the best guard in the state of California, Miss Deals, who I believe is the number 12 player overall in the class of 25. So not a bad gift for little old Iowa. And I do definitely believe this program will be able to have staying power and stay prevalent on the national stage due to what she has done. The eyes on the program, how she has dealt with the pressure to perform night in, night out. I can't thank her. We can't thank her. Not just us Iowa fans, but women's college basketball fans, sports fans in general. Thank you and best of luck to you moving forward. But that's really about it. I mean, please like, share, comment, subscribe. I can't wait to hear from you. Let me know what you think or thought about today's national championship game. Where does Iowa go from here? What does Iowa do? How about South Carolina? I definitely think South Carolina, with the cast that's coming back. I mean, Raven Johnson also is coming back next year. You do lose Cardoso to the WNBA, which, if I'm a GM, I know right now a lot of people, experts, are basically projecting Cameron Brink to go number 2. If I'm a GM, I'm taking Cardoso with the number 2 pick right there. I mean, I just am. That's just me. But yeah, I cannot wait to see these stars continue to battle at the WNBA level. Angel Reese, Cardoso, uh, Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers will be there next season. She's staying at UConn to keep playing. So is Juju Watkins. There are so many good players out there right now, and I cannot wait to keep watching women's college basketball from here out. And just to tell you, tomorrow, Eclipse Day, tomorrow, the national championship game on the men's side between UConn trying to go back-to-back and Purdue. Will I tune in? Probably. I mean, I'm not going to go out of my way to have to watch it, but I'm not going to go out of my way to avoid it either. My children both have track practice. That's first from 6 to 7 o'clock. And then I think tomorrow it's going to be a rite of passage here in the Parks residence. My son, who is 11 years old, wants to start mowing the lawn. So I need to do what I need to do as a father to pass this right down to him. I will show him, or we'll do the front yard together, and then I will cut him loose on the backyard. And it's crazy. It's a big moment from father to son. I mean, before you know it, I'll be teaching him how to drive, sharing our first beer together. It's all right around the corner. And just to prove to you about, yes, you might have noticed, you're number one. Yeah, I did jam my finger today doing that yard work after the game. But anyway, thank you for staying with me, your time and attention. Congratulations, both South Carolina and Iowa. So proud of you, what you've done this season. Keep fighting the good fight. Best of luck to you. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. I want to hear from you. I will be back later this week on Thursday afternoon, kind of get back to college football, which is my normal specific preference here on this channel. I'm going to go ahead and unveil to you my top 5 college football rivalries that take place each and every year, or more that once upon a time did, which we are going to be losing some of those because of conference realignment. So definitely tune in. So subscribe, get notifications, enjoy the rest of your week, be safe, have fun, and I'll see you Thursday on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Adios. Go Hawks.